What's up, conscious creators? Alex here, and in this video I'm going to be sharing with you 5 essential dating tips that every man should know, and perhaps that every woman should know too. But right now I'm covering things from a male perspective, as I've learned these lessons in my own life, and every single one of these tips has helped me to reignite my dating life after being out of the game for like 10 years due to being in an almost decade-long relationship. These tips helped me go from being completely lost and confused and not knowing what the hell to do on dates to having dates go super smooth and attracting more of the types of people I want to connect with. So pay close attention until the very end of the video so you can apply these tips and therefore guarantee yourself some positive results. So just a very quick announcement before we get straight into it. A few more slots have opened up for the free one-to-one with me to see if you'd be a good fit for the Consciousness Revolution program, where we help you overcome low confidence or low self-esteem that's holding you back. So if that interests you, head over to speaktoalex.com or wait till the end of the video for more details. But without further ado, let's get straight into it. Dating tip number 1, have multiple places lined up in your mind. If you're watching this in the thick of coronavirus lockdowns or in the middle of a country village with only one pub open, I get it. It might be a little bit challenging. But as best as you can, have in your mind 2 or 3 other places that you could go. Perhaps the first place is just somewhere to grab coffee or a nice bar or even a park. If it's a sunny evening, it doesn't need to be fancy or, a fancy restaurant or an expensive rooftop bar. Somewhere public and low pressure will do. Somewhere where it's easy and convenient for either of you to leave if you find out you're not very attracted to that person or they find out they're not very attracted to you. But if you do find there's a vibe going on, you've got in your head a couple of places that you can go to have a bit of silly fun. Somewhere like bowling or pool or some kind of games place. Something low pressure and light-hearted where you can get to know each other a bit better in a fun and dynamic environment. Somewhere you can move around and have some physical touch if it's appropriate. And then, if it's still going well, if you're still really enjoying each other's company, you've got somewhere else in your mind too. Perhaps a new sushi place just opened up, or perhaps it's getting a little later in the evening and you go to a place where you can find your own table, somewhere you can sit next to each other, to be physically close and grab a cocktail or two, like a booth table. By the end of the evening, you've already had an enjoyable time doing a few different things together and being in a few different environments, which creates good memories and trust and connection and intimacy. So have a few places lined up in your mind, just in case. Dating tip number 2, prioritize lightheartedness and fun. Listen, I know perhaps you have some opinions on left-wingers, right-wingers, SJWs, feminists, alt-righters, liberals, MAGA types, or whatever else you're for or against in the world of politics, religion, or whatever other potentially incendiary topics there are out there. And I know it's important for both of you to see where you both stand on your values and affiliations to feel out whether you can have a shared vision of the future. So I'm not saying never touch on these things. By all means, have curiosity about where the other person stands on things. But if you don't really know this person yet and you're not, meeting at some kind of rally or event for a particular cause, it might be best to avoid disappearing down the rabbit hole, especially on the first few dates, because too much heavy conversation about things like politics or religion can be a courtship killer, even if you're fairly aligned. It's most often a much more enjoyable interaction if instead of getting sucked into a world of mental concepts and mental positions, you're able to be present around each other and steer the conversation towards lightheartedness, fun and playful curiosity around each other. And besides, you'll gradually get to know that other person's values through this process anyway, without having to have a vitriolic conversation or debate. Tip number 3, don't try to impress or please them. If you're seeing the other person as some kind of prize just because of how they look or appear, and if you're insecure about who you are, you're going to be tempted to try and impress the other person or to be a people pleaser, which never gets very far. And of course, it is an excuse to be an arsehole or try some silly negging strategy to appear dominant or superior. That's a fool's game too. And it doesn't mean don't share your achievements or the positive things you've done recently that you'd like to celebrate. You don't need to try and be super humble in order to appear super cool. Just realize that you don't even know this person very well yet. Why would you try so hard to impress or please someone that you don't even know that well yet? Of course, you're going to try and create a situation that's fun and enjoyable for the both of you, and that maybe pleases the other person. Or if you've got certain skills or talents that end up showing themselves on a date, perhaps you're a pool wizard, so be it. Maybe that ends up impressing the other person, but do these things because you like to do them, not to please or impress the other person to win them over, because doing that is contrived and needy. Dating tip number 4, don't go over the top, especially on the first few dates. Some women might tell you they'd love to receive flowers or a big box of chocolates on a date, but the truth is it will usually lower their level of attraction. It comes off as a bribe and it comes off as needy. The ironic thing is, showering someone with gifts is supposed to win them over and present this appearance of high value, whereas in reality, it usually does the opposite, making you seem like a lower value person because you don't even know this person yet and you're already throwing gifts at them. You haven't even spent enough time with this person yet to know whether there's someone that you'd really like to spend a long time with and buy gifts for. So don't go over the top, especially on the first few dates. You don't need to buy them flowers or a box of chocolates or take them to a fancy restaurant. For the vast majority of nice, conscious women, a humble affair will do. They care less about being showered with gifts and more about good company and good times. Dating tip number 5, have high intention, low attachment to outcome. Let's face it, intentionality is sexy, right? Be intentional. But at the same time, have low attachment to outcome. Have intentions for your life to explore somewhere or to create something, to personally and spiritually grow or discover the deeper dimensions of yourself. And be intentional on your dates. You're there to have a good time, to help create mutually enjoyable situations, to have playful curiosity about that other person, and through lightheartedness and fun times together, discover if this person is someone you want to spend a longer time with. You're not just floating about because you've got nothing better to do. If you decide that you like this person, be intentional and offer up some other places to go. Know that if you're attracted to each other enough, it might well lead in certain directions because you're a man that knows what he wants. But at the same time, have low attachment to outcome. Don't be dependent on the date going well for your own peace and happiness. Don't be bummed out if things don't go the way you hoped they would. Don't be shaken off your foundation if she seems a little bit more closed off than you'd like, or decides to leave earlier than you hoped. And obviously, don't be forceful. Having high intentionality and low attachment to outcome shows that you are intentional, but that there's no pressure on the other person to do certain things or be a certain way. It shows the qualities of leadership, stability, and presence. It shows your ability to take action. with making new connections and take action, doing the things that help you grow in life instead of stagnating, yet not being dependent on external circumstances for your inner peace. And here's the thing, I'm going to be really honest with you. There are a lot of people who watch YouTube videos on personal development or how to feel more confident, videos like this, and they just watch them as entertainment, right? Each video is just another dopamine hit and they don't actually do anything with them. And then there's those who, do apply a few tips here and there. They try a few things out for a few days and then they fall off because there's no sustainability and no accountability. Then there's that rarer type of person who doesn't just sit and watch things, but actually takes action. They've realized they have an issue that they want to resolve or a problem that they want to overcome, and they do something about it, even though, yes, it's a little uncomfortable opening up about it at first, but they do. And then they begin to get positive results because of that, like clients that I'm working with right now. Because I'm not just another YouTuber who just gives out little band-aids that people run off with. I actually deeply care about your transformation, which is why I created the Consciousness Revolution program. For sure, videos can be really helpful. That's why I started making them, because they've often helped me in the past. But sometimes you need someone to support you making a full transformation, so you can finally overcome many of the things that are holding you back, right? And so that's why I offer that. So if you are a man of action and you want help overcoming low self-esteem or low confidence that's holding you back from creating the connections or relationships or the life purpose that you really want to be living, then head over to speaktoalex.com and book a time for us to speak about solving your problems. And with that being said, like this video if you liked it, and of course don't forget to subscribe and hit all on that notifications bell so you don't miss out on any new videos helping you with conscious personal growth. Peace.